Hi, my name is Phil Mershon with a company called Return on Initiative, and today I have the absolute pleasure of introducing to you a person who we've been working with for some time now. Her name is
Yeah.
Brenda Soucy, and she has a marvelous business of her own called Soul Life Adventure. And she's here today to talk to us about that and how she can help people in her role as a life coach. So, Brenda, thank you very much for being here.
Hi, thank you, Phil. Thank you for having me.
Oh, it's my pleasure. For people who maybe are not familiar, what does a life coach do?
A life coach. For me, I'm considering myself a transformational mindset coach.
Okay.
I have about five programs that it's shifting the perception, shifting the way that you think about things, and changing ways of approaching things and learning new ways of working with creating your own life. So it's old ways of teaching, like we teach about your imagination, your memory. We talk about the universal laws of forgiveness, receiving, and so it's when we change our way of seeing things and we change our mindset, then we change our life. Basically, we see life in a total new possibility.
Now, I know from my own experience in working with you that you are a remarkably talented person who could, I don't think it's overstating things, who could do any number of different things with her life. And you've elected to do this. And I was wondering if you could maybe talk a little bit about how you came to make that decision, how you came to what led up to where you are now.
Oh, okay. Yes, good question. Basically, I have a background of international business, and I love to travel. And in a period of time of like 10 years, I was able to travel solo every year. I'm a single mom, and I was able to have also the time and freedom to bring my daughter to any location. So my time and money freedom was awesome. I loved what I was doing, and my relationships were great. My health was awesome as well. I even trekked the Annapurnas in Nepal when I turned 40 years old. So that's how much I love traveling and discovering and growing. So when in the aviation industry, when they decided to sell the division of the water bomber, we were manufacturing the water bomber, which United States has some, and it's all over the world.
Sure.
Um, I ended up in a new industry, which I became in management for international logistics, shipping, importing, exporting all over the world. So I've obtained the highest designation in my industry, and I felt I was no longer learning, growing, and the pandemic hit. And so everybody has their own experiences through the pandemic. But I knew that I was missing something. There's got to be something more to life than going to work, the routine and coming home and that routine. And I no longer had the time and freedom to travel like I wanted. I had to work 15 days. I had to work 1 year to actually gain 15 days of travel. So it was not the same experience. I was missing out on my time and money freedom. And it just repelled on a lot of things. So I knew I had to do something. So during the pandemic, reinvested in myself through personal development. So I did Tony Robbins Mastery University. I did Mary Morrissey's like the whole program of Dream Builder and becoming a consultant certified by her. And because I couldn't travel, I had the money to invest in myself and grow and learn as I would when I travel. So during this pandemic, I learned that I can be in international logistics and also a transformational mindset coach. So about a year and 3 months ago, I resigned from my day job and now I'm doing full-time. I am an international business consultant for the government of Northern Ontario, and I'm also a life coach, transformational mindset coach, and I'm also traveling. Like
And I
this,
think that's, I wanted to ask you about that because not just from my own, working with you, but I mean, you don't have to spend too much time, like for instance, on your website before you realize that travel is a very important part of what you're doing. Can you
yes,
talk about that a little bit?
yes. I've I've traveled. My first initial was my initiation through my high school. I went to Europe. But Phil, I'm my background is French. I grew up in a town of 800 to 900 people where everybody speaks French. Everybody knows everybody. And I knew that I wanted to be in business one day. So at 18 years old, I found myself in London, England at the airport. And I was like, what's next now? So I immersed myself into London, England, and I worked there for the whole summer. And that's slowly how I started to learn English. But then I crossed Canada. I went and trekked all over Australia. I went to New Zealand and Hawaii. I went to Iceland. I went to Azores. Like I said earlier, I went to Nepal, Italy, Austria. Like every year, it was a destination that one country at a time that I would discover per year. And that's my passion. There's you cannot there's not a book in the world that will give you the growth and the knowledge and the experience of oneself once you immerse yourself into traveling and discovering the culture.
One of the that is fascinating because one of the things that you mentioned to me when we first started working together was that you wanted us to do some social media work, and you said I want pictures that, now I'll probably get this wrong. I think the gist of it was you said something like I want pictures that show people coming to an opening,
Yeah.
and can you explain why that is part of the message that you want to get across?
An opening of discovery. When you're looking at a picture of a person and they're looking to, I don't know, a mountain or a field, like it's openness that just like you can walk forward into that, and you don't know what you're going to discover until you take the first step. So I find that when and there's also connection in nature that a person can also bring themselves to connect and discover more of themselves. So yeah, to me, it's kind of like take your first step and see what you can discover. And as you said, my company name is SoulLife Adventure.
Right.
So we are on this human life experience of an adventure for our soul. So it's our soul that needs to grow, and we have one soul, and it
That's
is
right.
on this adventure of this life that we can, and it's up to us to create it, discover it, and learn from it all, basically.
I do want to talk more about Soul Life Adventure, your company. Um, Before we do that, you've piqued my curiosity more than once actually with this. Um, you mentioned Nepal, for example.
Yeah.
Where are some of the most adventurous places that you've been in your many travels?
I would say Nepal would be my first one because we were 10 days in the Annapurna mountain range. We slept in Tibetan tea house. There was no heat, only cold water. And I was afraid I was going to get altitude sickness.
Wow.
And or so, but I got a whole signature story on that one, but I did get a little bit of a trouble on the second day. I surpassed the Sherpas and the guides, and they had to find me. And then I realized, yes, I'm strong enough to go up these mountains because it's all like on man-made steps. It's all uneven, and you're on top of the mountain, but you still see the bottom of the other mountain. So it was 3,210 meters that we went up to. And
I think we have a picture which we're going to put on here of
Yeah.
you at that precipice. Uh,
Yes, it's that morning we got up at it was 5 a.m. and we were just waiting for the sun to rise. And here when the sun started to rise, we it revealed that we were above the clouds and it was just revealing these beautiful mountain tops, like mountain series of these mountains. That it was for me, it's when I got outside of my comfort zone that I was so proud that I was there, and I know that everybody but of us can do that. When we get outside of a comfort zone, magic happens.
all right. Well, that's a very interesting point. So maybe you want to tie this in with your company, Soul Life Adventure. What do you find? Well, it's called a comfort zone for a reason, I suppose, right? People
Yeah.
are comfortable, and sometimes I've noticed that some people are it's I didn't invent this expression, but you've probably met people who are comfortable being miserable.
Yes.
You know, uh, here we are doing the same old thing. I hate to get up in the morning, and I hate to go to work, and I hate to come home, and I hate everything. But gosh, at least I know what I'm doing here.
Yeah. Yeah. But
So people, they want to change, but it's a big step to move out of that zone that you're talking about. So, okay. So what does Soul Life Adventure do for people?
so basically we take the core, the basic core of the program that I have is called the Dream Builder program. And it's a 12-step program. And basically we take those people that are feeling comfortable, that they want change but don't know how, or they feel stuck, or even if it's just the 12-week program is a very a proven success system that every week we learn a new concept, and I give homework, and then every day they apply these concepts. So basically, for example, one of the examples that one week, there's a lot more to the program than this, but just to keep it for the purpose of our, we always tell ourselves the old stories, right? So there's an exercise, it's in the learning process, that we bring these stories above, but we change the story because we have the mental faculty of memory. We are able to change that story and focusing only on the empowering stories. So we recreate that story, but we repattern it in a way that it's powerful for us. So it helps our self-esteem, it helps with our self-confidence. And then there's another example is that, oh, I should have done this, I should have done that. But at the end of the day, if you look at your wins, what have you did your wins of the day? Or even like one of my wins is my daughter. One of my wins is hiking to Nepal at the age that I did. There's a lot of different wins. So you can choose to decide to choose on those thoughts, the wins of what you've accomplished up until now, or you can choose to what did not happen for you. So we change that mindset as well. So there's so many different ways that if people are stuck, that I find that by the 6th week, 7th week, they don't realize they've changed themselves, but eventually it's the people and the environment around them that are now interacting with them differently, and they're like, what's happening? Or people will say, what are you doing that you've changed, you're more happier, you're more positive. So that's the little small impacts that eventually you become that person that we create a vision initially, but you become that person that you want to become, and you can create the life you want. So it's shifting those little things that suddenly opportunities open up for you.
When you see people going through this transformation, um, I mean, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but it would seem if that were me, I would just how does that make you feel? Does that change you in any way when you see other people?
Well, for me, going through the process, I'm constantly in awareness of a different level because like, more you listen to it, repetitive becomes more and more in your own awareness and growth. Uh, but for what I love and why I do this is that at a certain point, I do this on Zoom. So when the customer arrives on Zoom, and I can see that they have peace within themselves. They have a smile on their face. They're even standing in their chair differently, like than when they started. And you could see that they have hope. They have a light in their face. And when I see that, I that to me makes me happy because suddenly a whole new world to them is opened up that was always there. But it was just shining the light on what they had in within themselves to actually create it. So
So you're helping people kind of manifest aspects of themselves that have been maybe just for the sake of convenience, maybe been repressed a bit.
yeah, and we discover our intuition, listening to that voice of intuition. Everybody hears the voice of negative thoughts, and there's always that negative chatter that everybody, as a human form, we all have that. But once we tune down that voice and we start to connecting and hearing more of our little voice of intuition, that's when you start manifesting. That's when you start working with your universe or your infinite intelligence. And I have games throughout my workshops to show them, like, there is a pattern that if I show you guys how to create it, you can create it. And I'm the product of a product. Like, is I'm a single mom. I
Right.
own my house. I have tenants in my house, but I resigned from my day job, from my pension, from my RSP, and who would do that? Really? Right? It's just but I believe that we like I believe in people. I believe in myself that we are far more powerful and we contain more potential than our circumstances, our situation, or even our conditions that we think that we're stuck in, basically.
You mentioned your daughter. How does she feel about what mom is doing?
Um, I think she's very proud of me. She's very supportive. When I started all this, she was my own personal development. She was about 10 years old, and it's all concepts that she is now known growing with, and like, just just to tell you, like, I'm hosting right now two international 16-year-old girls who are in
Oh,
11th grade, and one is from Japan, the other one is from Spain. And the reason why I have these two girls is that because a year and a half ago, my daughter came to me. She said, I want to go to Germany to school. So I was like, well, okay, you're 14. Let's discover how this program works and all that stuff. So that's why I have now these two beautiful young girls with us. I'm a mother of three for a whole year, from September to June. And we're discovering the process. We're discovering the safety, the security of the program, that when my daughter goes, we've applied. She's going this September. She's going to turn 16 years old. She'll be in 11th grade in Belgium, in a French school in Belgium. So when I
does
told
she
that,
speak French?
yes,
Yeah.
yeah. And I told that to somebody, and somebody told me, well, that's all your fault. That's your doing.
Well, to your credit, actually, yeah.
Yeah, so
Um,
she loves this stuff that I teach, and she's also taking it in for herself as well.
well, I'm curious now. We're going to talk about this, but since you brought it up, I'm just curious. So you're hosting these two students.
Yes,
One is from Japan, one is from Spain.
yeah, Granada, Spain. Yeah.
Do you are you? I know you speak English. Obviously, you speak French. Do you speak the other two languages as well?
my when me and my daughter are alone, I do speak French with her because she will be going to a French school in Belgium in Liège. But when we're all together, we
Right.
are speaking English.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
I was just curious. That's I
Because
took I've had 7 years of French and um, a long time ago, and I was trying to remember how you ask someone if they speak French from a moment ago. Parle tu français? I think that's about the extent of my recollection. So I
yeah,
think doing it on a regular basis, immersion
yeah.
is probably the good way. That's a bit off the point, but I just wanted to touch on that because I think that's fascinating. And I think that sense of adventure is something that you do convey very much in your courses, which you said you do conduct these over Zoom.
Yes.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. Um, was that by design, or was that because just out of sake of well, we have a pandemic, maybe this would be a good way to do it?
Well, it started like that, and some people they need to do the switch from in person to Zoom at the beginning of all that. But when I started, it was all Zoom, and now in this past few months, it's starting to be in person.
Oh,
So I did one workshop in person locally here in the city. My next one will be at the university we have here. That will be in person. So I'm slowly getting out there to do my workshops in person as well.
and when you say here, where is here?
Oh, I'm sorry. I live right now in North Bay, Ontario, which is about like 4 hours north of Toronto and 4 hours west of Ottawa. So I'm
Okay,
right in the middle of those two. Yeah.
excellent. Um, so this is very intriguing, and we're gonna talk more about some of this in future interviews. But so if someone is intrigued, and you certainly ought to be, um, how would they go about getting in touch with you? Do you have? I bet you have a website.
Yes, I have a website. It's soullifeadventure.com.
Okay.
Okay. And I also have on that website a Calendly link that they can select to contact me, and we can do a clarity session, a strategy session together, which is it's a Zoom call. It's free. And it's a 60-minute call. And that's where we focus on you. I serve the client. All the attention is on the client, where they are now and where they
All right.
would love to be and how we can create that.
So you use an expression that I've been hearing a little bit lately called clarity assessment,
Yeah.
and I have an idea of what that means. But can you expand on that just a little bit?
The clarity is that we grew up in a society that what people say we need to do, the society say what you need to do and all that stuff. And the question I ask either workshop or a clarity session or a strategy session is like, what would you love? What would you love to create in your life in 4 quadrants of your life? And a lot of the times people don't know that answer. So we take the time to discover that. We take the kind of like, what's the longing, what's the discontent that they have right now in this moment in life, and what they would like to change or what they would love to create. So gain clarity is basically listening to what we have inside of us and answering, what would I love for my life? And like when we were 3 or 4 years old, everything was possible. I like any kid could go to be an astronaut, or the imagination was like big and everything was possible. So I invite clients to bring themselves back to that imagination where everything is possible and what comes up for them, and I give them that space to voice it and actually write it down. And it's some of the people, that's just what they need, just that 1 hour. And they're like, oh my God, and they just go. And some
Right.
are like, okay, I'm curious, I want to learn more. And then they sign up with me. So it's beautiful. It's a beautiful process of it's time investment in themselves. And it's beautiful.
People, a lot of times don't spend much time investing in themselves. They're busy building what we might call a future, or they're taking care of a family member or family members. Um, and I mean, you should know yourself. I mean, as a single mother, you would have had, that had to seem at some point or other that had to seem daunting, and yet you've managed to grow into this fantastic, dynamic individual who is doing all of this,
Thank
and
you.
helping other people along the way. Well, it's worth taking note that you do have to be able to have that kind of faith in yourself, and that's not always easy. And having someone who can support what you're doing and to coach you along the way helps keep you accountable and helps
Yes.
you know you know, when you're doing right. And yeah, this is good. I've learned. I'll just say I've learned a great deal from Brenda just in our interactions, and I know that I've got a lot more to learn. But yeah, this is something that people ought to take advantage of. So the website again is called
SoulLifeAdventure.com. It's all in one word.
SoulLifeAdventure.com. Excellent.
Yeah.
And is there an email that people could reach you, or can they? You
Yes.
said there's a calendar link right on the website.
Yes. There's a calendar link right on their website. And you can also email me at brenda@SoulLifeAdventure.com.
Excellent, excellent. Wow, this has been fun. Will you come back?
Oh, yeah, I would love to. Thank you.
All right,
Yes. It's
fantastic.
been a pleasure. So thank you so much.
Thank you. This has been Brenda Soucy, and I am Phil Mershon, and we'll look forward to seeing all of you the next time.